My sister did an a cappella group.
Oh, okay.
She was the beatboxer.
Oh, nice. Yeah, she does a little bit, my friend.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Effects of Influencing. I'm Audrey, this is Jacob, and Gretchen has joined us today as we are going to be talking about Shane Dawson. So all of us are kind of, I don't want to say experts or anything, but patrons of different eras of Shane Dawson.
That's a good way to put it.
I was kind of like around when Shane was first doing like YouTube and then into like his vlog days and like through the whole music video and like when he was on the chair and did like his first movie. Like I was in that era of Shane, and then you were like there but also a little bit after me.
Yeah, I started watching when it was like the whole when it was like the collab YouTube era where all these YouTubers would like collab with each other and like his food videos. That's when I got into it. And then I kind of stuck around for like the whole, when he started doing those like documentary type videos, I was around for that. And then when the whole Dramageddon happened, I kind of, well, I guess everyone fell off because he stopped making videos.
Yeah.
And I mean, I guess I would say I still watch his videos, but not in the same way that I used to.
It's more of like a hate watch now.
Yeah, kind of.
Like a oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I don't wish any ill will on him or anything, and I want him to do well. I just feel like he could do better with the videos that he makes now.
Sweet.
Yeah.
And then you watched like just the conspiracy.
I mean, yeah, and I guess I wasn't even like when he was like, it was like his time, like I was a part of it, but like I've seen like his like all the conspiracy videos, and then I guess like the documentary kind of conspiracy videos, like I was like, I was watching like when those were releasing and stuff, but yeah, not super,
Yeah, so he was like one of the first like big YouTubers, like really paving the way for like you can do something with YouTube and like kind of like climb the ladder that way. So he started making YouTube videos in 2008, and then by 2010 he had reached 500 million views. So like he was
2 years,
going.
Damn.
And then he was doing like sketch comedy stuff like that, which have a lot of them have been taken down by now because they were just wildly offensive, and he needed to cover his own ass, I guess. And then he ended up doing like music stuff towards the end of like his beginning periods. Like Super Love came out, and I bought the music video for Super Love on my iPod Touch and like all of that stuff. So
fan.
I was, unfortunately. But yeah, so I was there during that period and remember thinking like it was cool to have like someone I watched like their vlogs and like all of the like shittier content on YouTube have like an actual production. It was like one of the first times I saw something like that for a YouTuber. So I remember like Shane was paving the way in that kind of way, and then transitioned into doing more like the collaborative stuff, and I feel like he only did collaborative like videos for like a good 2-year span. It was like every once in a while we'd get like a sprinkle of Shane alone, but it's like he was always with somebody, and that translated like later into the Shane and Friends podcast, which had like went for a really long time. It was like a years long podcast, and I thought that was cool because but like there were so many people who were like in that sort of circle of like those early YouTubers who started those podcasts and they just didn't continue, or like they fell off or whatever, and he did keep that going. So like good for him in that sense. Shane never really gave up. Like I feel like a lot of people just were like, yeah, I got my bag, I'm gonna leave. But Shane kept doing it. So then there's like the podcast, which all of the bad stuff ended up centering around like where like the podcast was like the taking off point for people being like, Shane, you're not doing super great in terms of your public image.
Yeah, I think that definitely started the whole, it didn't start the Dramageddon, but I think the podcast was largely why he was canceled, because after he made a statement on like the beauty community or whatever, everyone was like, oh yeah, well, look at all this stuff that you've said and did. There was also a quote that he said somewhere that like every 2 years he gets canceled. And I feel like that alone should like speak for itself.
Because it's not wrong.
It's not wrong.
It's like not even a little bit inaccurate. And to just keep going. And it's like that like sector of like influencer YouTuber, like whatever you want to call it, that is like, no, but like they're just mad. They're just upset. And it's like, yeah, like they are mad, but is it
But for a good reason.
is it justified, or are you mad now?
Yeah.
So it's like seeing him do that. So on his like way up, because he was still like on the way up before all of that happened, it's like he gets a lot of really cool opportunities. He was on The Chair, which was like a reality show where him and this other girl got similar like scripts and had to make a movie, and the movies were just really different in the end. Shane's was obviously like just super offensive, and like it was like a teen comedy, but one of like the gross teen comedies that like just really should be forgotten to time.
Yeah.
And he ended up winning. It was, which I think is the worst, because this reality show like let people just vote on like who the winner was. So obviously Shane being a YouTuber, and the other girl had like Zachary Quinto working with her. So I guess she had like equal playing field, but not really. When it's an online survey that your people are voting on and you're internet famous, it seems kind of unfair.
Yeah.
So he won like $250,000 off of that and started a beef with Zachary Quinto. So, you know, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, I feel like when you already start with such a platform, even if she had Zachary Quinto on it, I feel like, I don't know, it's a little rigged.
Yeah. And like, Zachary Quinto is like obviously a talented, creative man, but
yeah,
it's a very niche group of people to be like, yes, Zachary Quinto, as opposed to like Shane Dawson at this point in time, who it's like, if you have anything to do with the internet or YouTube, you probably have heard at least his name.
Yeah.
So to do it like on a platform like that, where like The Chair was like not huge, so it was like not going to be a lot of people who weren't like
tuning in.
Yeah, it was like already like a lot of he was generating a lot of publicity for the show, which is like why they asked people like that to like, oh, you already have a following? Well, we're starting up this show and we like need some viewership, so we're gonna have you because you guarantee that. So it is kind of all just like rigged from the beginning, if you want to look at it in that kind of way. But so he had that success, and then he was in Smiley and Internet Famous, or I think is what it was called.
What is it?
Smiley, I remember that movie, coming out with it was like some weird, like, curved smiley face until, like, it ended up being a big movie, but it was a horror movie. But I remember him talking about it extensively. But he was in that, which his movie from The Chair was called Not Cool, if anybody's interested in looking it up. Like,
that's where it came from?
Yes! He made that for a reality show.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought it was just a movie that he made.
Nope. He got $250,000 for that movie. And now knowing that that's the movie that won him that, how grossed out do you feel?
I feel really gross.
You feel nasty, don't you?
Yeah.
Knowing that the internet just gave him $250,000 for that piece of garbage.
Yeah.
No offense, but...
He also seemed a little ungrateful for it, because I've seen some of like the behind the scenes footage of him like yelling at people over that movie, and it wasn't even a good movie.
And no, he was like very like power hungry over that film.
Oh, for sure.
Because it was like his first time directing something like that.
Yeah.
He's used to pushing people around in the internet space, so he like thinks that he can do the same kind of stuff there to be like, I'm in control.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he did Smiley, and then he did Internet Famous, which was in 2016. I've never heard of Internet Famous before.
That's like too recent, I feel like.
Well, he did Smiley in 2012 and Internet Famous in 2016. And then Not Cool was in 2014, so it was right in the middle of those two. He put out his own movie after premiering in those other two. And then in 2015, he began making the conspiracy theory videos, which I think really got him popular with like a new group of people. Like,
yeah,
people have been following Shane, and then I think he kind of needed to rebrand at that point too. He was like, okay, we're gonna have my personality sprinkled in there, but we're not gonna make it all about me anymore necessarily.
Yeah.
I think he was trying to like take a step back from the focus being on him. And then 2019, he had his first docu-series. So we've talked a little bit about, you said you started watching the docu-series. So he had one on Jeffree Star, Jake Paul, and TanaCon. And those were 3 of his like really big ones.
Which one was the first one?
I want to say Jeffree Star, but that also could just be his biggest one.
I thought it was Jake Paul, but I don't know.
I don't think Jake Paul was the first one. I think you might be right with Jeffree Star. But I kind of think that Shane used his platform as like a saving grace for these people almost. Like, he was friends with Jeffree Star a little bit beforehand, and he saw that Jeffree Star was getting like hate. And so maybe he thought that he could like do good by using his platform to save these people that have done things wrong. And like, I watched Tana Mojo before that docuseries, and it did not, in my opinion, deserve that saving grace, because she fucked up big time.
No, I'm like unfamiliar with what Tana did.
So she tried to plan this whole convention in 1 month because she was mad that she wasn't invited to like what's it called? VidCon. She wasn't invited to VidCon, and so she tried to plan her own event, also in Anaheim, California, to be on the same day as VidCon, and she planned it in 1 month. And so these people, she sold general admission tickets for free. Sold.
Gave out.
But I've heard a lot of people say that they never saw the general admission tickets. Like, everyone that was there had on like the VIP wristbands. So a lot of people think that she wasn't even doing the general admission. And also, I think the venue space that she had reserved was only good for like a certain number of thousands of people, and like 3 times that much people showed up.
Why?
To see Tana.
I don't know, and I don't know if it was because they like oversold the tickets or like people just started showing up, but there was people that were sitting outside for like 6 hours, and there was no water, no bathrooms, nothing. They were just sitting outside getting sunburnt. I think 2 people went to the hospital
to go see Tana.
Yeah, and this is like in Anaheim, California in the middle of summer. So like, it's hot. And they didn't provide anything.
So Shane tried to save her after that.
Yeah, and I don't think she deserved that.
Yeah.
Well, then there's like just the Pauls in general. What did they do to deserve a second chance?
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he started with Jeffree, and I know they weren't like besties before that documentary, but Jeffree's always been a controversial person, and so maybe he just wanted to learn more about Jeffree, and then that video ended up being the saving grace. I don't really know what his thought process was, obviously, but like, maybe it just accidentally turned into that, and then he just kept rolling with it.
Yeah. So he just did another one with Jeffree. Is that like the same type of videos that the other ones are as well? Like, is that one of they filmed similarly? Like, how are the docuseries produced? Because we watched he just put out a recent video, which we'll talk about in a few minutes, but it was filmed odd, and we were talking about that when we watched it like before the show, and I'm like, are the rest of the docuseries edited and like filmed that way?
Sort of. I think that the docuseries before this most recent one were like, it still had the weird cuts in it where like he talks about stuff that isn't really necessary in there, but it wasn't to the extent as the new one. The new one cuts between like 3 different storylines that just make no sense together.
Perfect.
The other ones were at least like kind of related to the story.
You win some, you lose some, I guess.
Yeah.
1 step forward, 2 steps back with Shane here. So just to sum it up, he then went on to release 2 books. Well, this was before his docuseries started coming out, but just what Shane has done, he released 2 books, I Hate My Selfie in 2015 and It Gets Worse in 2016. And then he has over 4.5 billion views across his 3 channels, but he only actively maintains Shane, which is the channel that used to be his vlog channel. So I think it's funny that he transitioned from Shane Dawson TV to just the Shane channel.
Yeah.
Because I remember that Shane Dawson TV is where all of like the actual produced stuff was going out when I was still like watching him. And Shane was just for his daily vlogs. Like, he made a daily vlog on that one every day. So.
Well, you know there was a 3rd channel made, right?
Yeah, but I don't remember what it was.
It was called Shane Glosson. That was his makeup thing that he started.
God, wait, no, I never knew about this.
Yeah.
Stop.
He started it after the Jeffree Star docuseries, and it's because he got into like the makeup industry. And so I think he only posted makeup videos on that channel. I could be wrong. But I mean, that whole thing kind of blew up shortly after, so I don't think there's been much on that channel since.
It's still so hard for me to process that he like actually for real got into makeup and that it's not like a bit. Like, it's hard for me to like let that sink in.
No, I totally get it.
Just because of the person that he is. Like, you know, watching the videos of like with like Shanae and his mom character and all of that other shit from like 2010. thinking that this is a man who like seriously threw himself into like makeup. It's also really weird to think that like he's like openly in a gay relationship now also, just because of like all the shit that he used to say. So I feel like there's just so many weird layers to Shane Dawson that we'll never understand, and like anything that he does that'll surprise me, I feel like deep down I can't really be surprised, because he's like done a 180 so many times now on the way he speaks versus the way he acts that I'm like, I can't even worry about it anymore.
I mean, the makeup thing, I don't know how I feel about it, because I get he was into it after like making that palette with Jeffree Star, but then he said all that stuff about the makeup community, and then he was like, the way he ended his Twitter statement about it was like, this is my final goodbye from the beauty industry or whatever he said. And now he's back on it again.
Now he's back.
It's going to be a rough comeback.
A little update. Shane and Jeffree, Shane just released a video, and it was the canceled life or something.
I think it was called like the cancellation of Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star.
That's what it was, something like that. And it was about Shane and Jeffree's new palette, and we watched it, and it was basically an hour of Shane and is it Ryland? And like their 3 dogs just doing stuff around the house and like going to get puppuccinos, and Shane talking about wearing the same shirt for 3 months, and then they don't show you the palette, and then there's like, it cuts randomly between like videos of them in the car with their dogs and like talking about their house and wanting to have a baby, to like Jeffree and Shane being like, this color is everything. Like, where are we?
And not to mention that like that wasn't even the point of the video. The point of the video
was about them being canceled. So like none of it even correlates.
It makes no sense.
It's an hour of being confused about what we're even talking about, and like looking at palettes going, it looks like something you'd buy at Target. Okay.
It looks fine.
As someone who's not into makeup, this was a waste of time to watch this probably, but hey, we can't say we're not up to date now, brother.
That's right.
I mean, as someone who is into makeup, it still wasn't great. Some of the colors are pretty, but like it really is not that impressive.
It's nothing like to cry about.
Yeah.
It's nothing to write home about.
I would have rather watched the cancellation part.
Absolutely.
No, if we would just like been able to cut like 5 minutes together, even if it wasn't like Shane never actually delivers a message, someone just cuts like him saying words from throughout that 1 hour video of him into a sentence of him saying anything about him being canceled, I'd be more content.
Yeah.
True.
Like, it's not even a real statement by Shane. It's like just an I'd be more satisfied than anything that came from that hour.
Yeah, I agree.
So, we've talked about him, like, you know, saying that weird shit about the makeup community, which basically he called the makeup community a circus and called them all a bunch of clowns, and said that he just wasn't happy there anymore and he felt attacked. And so he was moving on, and now he's made his public announcement that he's back in the beauty community. But before even all that cancellation mess happened, there was like a whole other thing with Shane Dawson where he was, so YouTube suspended monetization on all of his accounts in June of 2020 due to like the backlash he was facing, because he was called out for a number of things. What was the inciting incident of all of that mess?
It was Tati Westbrook's video.
Yes, we talked about that. I forgot.
Because she made a video calling out James Charles. I forget about. Oh, it was the gummy bears. How he like did a brand deal with the
sugar bear hair.
That's it. And then she made another video later that said that Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star basically pushed her to make that video and were feeding her lies about James Charles. And so she called him out by name in her video. And then, like, that's when it all came out.
Where people were like, well, not only has Shane been doing that, he's been doing all this other stuff. So to go over accusations, the racist, like, uncomfortable videos, the use of children being sexualized and stuff in his old videos, like, just, like, straight up child actors, very loosely, like, said.
Oh, yeah.
Because it was for a YouTube channel in his house.
Well,
all of the weird stuff he said to his, like, to and about his mom, just in general.
Yeah, that's weird.
Just making jokes about pedophilia, and then, like, the cat. Which I don't even like to talk about the cat, because I don't even want to think about the logistics behind the cat, but for anyone who's concerned, Shane Dawson made a joke one time on a podcast that he completed on his cat, and I say that with all of the weight in my heart. I'm sorry. We'll move on, but man, do I hate that we have to talk about that part.
Well, I don't know that, like, I'm sure some people took it seriously, but I feel like for me, that's not something, if you actually did that, that's not something you would admit willingly on the internet. So it's clear to me that he said it for shock value.
Or as a
like
joke,
all
yeah.
of the,
Yeah.
he's always,
Let's
be honest, always been weird with his pets, and like it's always like he's always joked about weird stuff with his pets. Even like with Corny when they had the little dog. And,
I forgot about Corny.
They were right.
Yeah, that was bad.
They were totally like making weird jokes about her, and like I feel like he would even like record if she was like on her back or something, and like that got weird. And so Shane just doesn't understand a line with like animals and stuff like that, and he thinks all of it's funny. I don't think he's ever assaulted an animal.
No, I don't think he has either.
But no more than that Tara's World bitch. But
oh,
her fucking parrot.
Oh yeah, that's a whole different story.
I was gonna say she reminds me a lot of him in like these instances of like they're just mad.
Yeah, well, somebody compared her to Tana Mojo, and I think she really just ran with that, and now that's like her personality.
Character,
yeah.
So I don't think Shane's ever done anything to any of his animals, but I think it's a weird bit to keep going for a couple of years.
Yeah.
So
Seriously.
it was like he got just canceled for all of that, lost his YouTube, and then finally came back in, I think it was October of 2021. He got his YouTube back. And Ghetto Pranks at VidCon in 2012, if you remember that thing.
Ghetto Pranks?
Yeah, he was doing like, I don't even want to get into it, but he was just doing some offensive shit at VidCon on camera and called it Ghetto Pranks and stuff like
I didn't know about that.
So he made an apology video in June 2020 saying, I don't know who that person is anymore, and that he wished he would have been punished like when in the moment so that he would have been able to learn from it, and that he was willing to lose anything that he had just to like apologize. So as heartfelt as someone on the internet can get, I suppose. And then he and Ryland moved to Colorado?
Colorado,
got that big old house, and he makes a video every once in a while now, and
they're not even good though.
No,
I think he just does it to like
have something going.
Yeah,
right.
to not lose everybody.
He needs money, and then he wants to talk about it like it's not about money, like none of this is about money. But I'm like, at least some of it has to be about money if it's your job. You don't have to pretend like, I just do this because it's what I love. Like, you have to also worry about your money, and that's okay. So I feel like people who are like that, like it doesn't, like, I can't even take them seriously if they're gonna pretend like the money's not a perk. Because he was even talking about like his first palette with Jeffrey and being like, people think I made like $5 million off of that. It was like $2 million.
No, he said it wasn't 20 million. It's only $5 million.
Yeah. He said, people think I made $20 million off of this. And it really, truly was only like $5 million.
I mean, like, there is a difference, but come on now.
You can't be millions of dollars
to people about that.
Like after $1 million, like no normal person would be like, man, 20 or 5. God, I'd hate to pick.
Right.
Like,
well, also I think if it wasn't about the money, I feel like he would produce better videos, which I feel mean saying, but like honestly, his videos make no sense.
And they don't need to, because he's him.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel like the bottom line to wrap it up with Shane is like, sometimes there's no effects of influencing. Sometimes this is just the way someone expresses themselves. And Shane, I think, has just always done this. Like, if there's anything about this man, he's been fairly consistent with at least his mannerisms, his behavior, and the general way he conducts himself. Like, he might not express those like himself as wildly or like any of that shit anymore. Like, just doing these like as much like what is it, like shock factor as he used to, but he's still a dude who loves those kinds of jokes, like regardless of whether like it's his brand or not. Like, he's just that guy. Like, that's just his sense of humor.
Yeah.
And no matter like how much people tell him like that's offensive, people are gonna try and get him to change. He's not doing it for you. This is just who he is. And I think that's like the thing that I'm like, at the end of the day, have to be like, it's Shane Dawson. Like, he's just the way he is. He's always been like this. You people are trying to shame him. He knows no better.
True.
He's had the worst friends on, like, the most, okay. He's had very toxic internet friends.
Yeah.
That can be proven factually through the receipts. Why would he know any better than he does now?
Yeah.
So can we really be like, but so mad? We feed him, like, we're the reason that he's doing what he is now. We were there when he needed us, and now he's got the platform, and at least some people must enjoy him. Not as much anymore, because all the people who did love him, like, kind of outgrew it, and now I'm like, man, what people actually like Shane Dawson now, and it's not like just for the meme.
I think it's people just like checking up on him, be like,
because we do remember him. We're like, yeah, we hope that Shane will get it straight one day. And it's just, there's not really anything else besides that. It's like, yeah,
I remember that guy.
Part of my childhood. He was there.
Yeah.
It's like that creepy cousin.
Yeah.
That's what Shane is for so many
always
of
there.
us. And I'll never remember him as anything else. But yeah, maybe there's not always an effect of influencing.
Yeah.
Maybe someone's just the way that they are, and then they put that on camera, and that just stays what it is.
It's just a personal diary that's public for some reason.
Yeah. And I think that's my final statement on that. I think that some people just are the way that they are. So that's what makes Shane different than everyone we've talked about. I feel like everyone we've been able to have like a cause and effect. I have no cause in this besides this is the way this man is.
Yeah.
And we're all just gonna have to deal with that.
Yeah. And that's
it's a hard pill to swallow.
It sure is. But we're all gonna have to.
Yeah.
Any closing thoughts on Mr. Yaw?
Bruh.
Let's see. I think that he should learn a little bit better, because if he gets canceled every 2 years, I feel like that should be a wake-up call for most people. But like you said, he thinks people are mad at him.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like if there was a time for him to change, it would have been that 2020 thing. And if he hasn't truly changed, it's not going to happen. And that's how it is. It's fine.
Yeah, I mean, I think you guys said it all. I was never like a true, I guess, Shane Dawson fan, but I do hope that he like gets it together in some sense and can just exist.
Yeah.
With his dogs in Ryland, I guess. Yeah. But.
And not make people upset anymore.
Yeah.
Right? He's in good company. It seems that his are they married?
Maybe they are.
Those guys.
No, he would have definitely made a video.
Good.
I think he did.
You know he would. Really?
I don't think there was like an official
I would have
wedding,
been
but
like all over Twitter.
Shane Dawson didn't want to have an official wedding.
Well, yeah, I think they did it
He'd be
like
too anxious.
soon after that whole 2020 thing happened. So
Oh.
I could be wrong though.
No one would come, so they couldn't have it.
We'll never know.
I know
I'm
they
not
at least
looking
talked
it up.
about it.
Yeah.
I'm not either.
Well wishes in case they did. Happy
Anniversary. Yeah.
Happy anniversary. Happy birthday.
Right.
But I think that's all I've got to say on good old Shane Lee Yaw this week. Definitely a man who played a part in our childhoods who maybe shouldn't have.
We wish.
That's all I've got for this week, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks for joining us.
Oh. I was a Russian dancer in 3rd grade for a play.